The Cambridge Greenbelt is under threat from developers wishing to build more urban areas around the city fringe in Greenbelt land. What is your position on the Greenbelt?
My position is that it was Labour that established the whole principle of Greenbelts in the first place, and they've played a vital role in making sure that we haven't seen the kind of sprawl that has happened in other countries. So really important we maintain it. Doesn't have to be fixed in every detail in perpetuity. There can be some sensible trade-offs in places, but what we do not want to see is just sprawling development. So what I think we need to do is, as I've perhaps indicated earlier, that the hub and spoke model, whereby we have our developments in places where it does not harm our local environment, but we make sure we've got the decent transport systems to get people in and out. I don't think that's an unattainable goal, but I do think that as a Member of Parliament, there's an important role there in bringing people together. We have a very complicated set of structures at the moment, a new mayoral model, which not all of us were wildly keen on, but we now have it. If I'm re-elected as MP, I'll be working cross-party with other MPs around, but also council leaders, whatever their political persuasion, because unless we're working together on this, we're not going to get a good outcome. And I think there is a role for actually taking the consultations down a number of levels so that we get local community groups more involved, because I think they add real value to the process.
So the Rebooting Democracy Party is about giving the people of Cambridge the choice of what they want to do with their city. So it would be a series of deliberations and discussions on how we want to move forward. So again, we would use sortition, which is randomly selected citizens panels, which are representative of the whole structure of society, not just one small part of it. And they would work out how we go forward with whether we need to expand into the Greenbelt, if we do, how we do it, whether we need to stay within the confines of our city and just limit our growth, how that affects the wider economy and environment of Cambridge.
Cambridge is very fortunate to be a city which does have, in some ways, a beautiful setting. It doesn't have quite as many mountains and hills as I'd like to see, but it is in many directions beautiful. If you look out to the west, in various directions, out Cherry Hinton Way, we have some really beautiful settings. And if we damage that, if we destroy the character of Cambridge, then I think we will do ourselves a great disservice, because the people who currently want to come to Cambridge because of its fantastic academic reputation in technology will simply look at it and go, actually no, this is not an environment that I want to be in. So we have to think about that. That means thinking about the green areas inside our cities. I used to be chair of Friends of Stourbridge Common, for example, and that green corridor coming into Cambridge along the river is really, really important. We need to not overdevelop out on the Westfields, for example. Also not ruin Milton Road, a lovely tree-lined area, by turning it into something which is about roads and traffic rather than a space for community. So as we grow, we do have to make sure that we think about that environment that people are in, to make sure there are green spaces, there are wild areas, natural areas that we can enjoy and make the most of. And that's why, yes, we need housing here in Cambridge, but we also need to look at putting it further away so that we don't destroy the setting of Cambridge.
It's clear there's a big problem with affordable housing in Cambridge. Many people find it very difficult to live here. As I've said already, I work for the NHS. People who work in public sector or work in the service sectors of the economy as well are finding it very difficult to afford housing in Cambridge. So it's important that we look at solutions for that. I find it very difficult to justify developments to go out into the Greenbelt when there's a number of developments in places in the city where very expensive, unaffordable housing is being built, which local people and people who work in areas like myself can't afford. So I think we should exhaust every option for building good quality, up-to-date housing within the city boundaries before we go out and look at expanding into the Greenbelt. One of the fundamental issues we need to resolve is reforming the housing market so that housing is an option for local people and for people on lower incomes, because a huge problem is that many of the properties that are being built are sold to speculators, to people who are investing in property, who buy to let or who buy just to leave sitting there to make huge amounts of money out of it, whereas that property should be available to local people who need the housing as well.